212 degrees. From hot water to steam. 1 degree difference. 1 degree makes all the difference. So the example in this Simple Truths video talked about 3 strokes making the difference in a golf match between coming in second and being the champion. 1.54 seconds making the difference between coming in second and winning a race. Milliseconds. So I think in this road to self-mastery, it's not about the bigness of self-mastery. It's almost the spiritual elephant in the room, self-mastery. However, if we think about it like they talk, that question, that eternal question, how do you eat an elephant? 1 bite at a time. That self-mastery is about turning it on 1 degree at a time, an extra degree at a time. Because at every moment we are at choice. And when you're at choice, that's where you can either have hot water or steam that brings power. When you're at choice is where the water's boiling or the water's hot and you see the bubbles starting to come up and you're in a situation and you get to choose, what am I going to do now? We talk about that often. What am I going to do now here? Do I just do my usual, or do I turn it up another degree? So if you're getting ready to have a meeting or a conversation with somebody that could possibly go south, the 1 degree is, I'm showing up differently this time. I'm showing up in love, not in anger. Showing up with my full power, not just so-so. Have you seen those commercials lately about OK? And the doctor comes in and he's getting ready to do surgery and he comes in and he says, well, this is going to be okay. And the person who's getting ready to go into surgery is like, what do you mean, okay? And he said, well, it looks like I've been reinstated, almost. Oh, yeah. And the person's like, what do you mean? I'm going under the knife and you're not 100% confident? What is this? So there's a difference between okay and I've got this. 1 degree, 1 degree. There's probably a whole lot more degrees for that doctor. But in life, the 1 degree is the difference between, I gotta, I'm moving through life. Things are pretty good. And mastery. The 1 bite at a time, the 1 choice at a time, 1 moment at a time. So when you get up in the morning and you're faced with, do I meditate? The 1 degree is yes, I'm meditating. The other day when I was working out, I got up and I was a little tired. I had stayed up late to work the night before, which is not my thing. I don't stay up late, but there's something I needed to get done because at that time, at 11 o'clock when I still had something else to do, that was my 1 degree because I said, this is getting done tonight. And in the morning when I got up, because now I'm committing to exercising more and pushing myself a little bit more, I had the choice to do the easy workout, or I'm going to pull out all the stops here. And I said, well, I'm a little tired, but I thought in my divinity I can show up the way I choose. So I went the extra degree to 212 degrees and did the tougher workout. 40 minutes instead of 30 minutes. And I talk to my body all the way through, all the way through. And through each sequence, as the DVD was moving, I would say, okay, we got 3 more minutes in this one, 2 more minutes in this sequence, 4 more minutes in this sequence. And I kept talking to my body, and we got through it. The we. The divine we, mind, body, spirit, and heart. There's nothing wrong with hot water. But look what happens when you turn it up an extra degree and you have steam. It powers a locomotive. And there's a difference when you feel like your life is that train powering down that track. And once the locomotive gets started and it's chugging and it's chugging and it's chugging, there's nothing that can stop it. And anything that gets in its way is obliterated. You don't want to be on the tracks when a train that's barreling down the tracks is coming. An extra degree, another bite of the elephant. So the elephant is the mastery, the choice, every single moment. That's the extra bite. That's the extra degree every moment in your choices. And we get them constantly, every day. As you're driving along, am I going to be calm or do I go flip into road rage? If I'm at work, do I just coast through the day? Or do I go above and beyond what I'm asked to do in this moment? When you're thinking about your health, one meal at a time comes the choice. One workout at a time comes the choice. The extra degree. And that requires a quiet determination in here that says, I'm turning up the heat. But it's only 1 degree. Only 1 degree. It doesn't take a lot. But it makes all the difference, as the video said. It makes all the difference. Athletes do it all the time. You've seen them, especially during the Olympics. People in pain, they have an injury while they're running and they keep on running. Because this is the moment when they've decided to show up. And when you decide to show up, something happens in here, something happens in here. And the body responds to the mind. And when the mind is tired, it responds to the spirit, to your divinity when you invoke it. And our divinity allows us to do things that the body, the mind, and the heart may be afraid of or have some doubts about. Spirit, the innate divinity in us, the Christ principle. Jesus was the epitome of the Christ principle. Always in his power. Always in his power. That's why he's the way shower, the master teacher. Because he showed up in that 212 degrees, the steam just rolling, just rolling, just rolling. So an extra degree sometimes. It may require just a deep breath to remind you of who you are and what am I going to do in this moment. Who am I going to be in this moment? The video also said You've got to do something you've never done if you're going to have something you never had. And so that extra degree is saying, what do I have to do now that I've never done before in this moment? Because there's something that I want that I've never had. Maybe it's peace, maybe it's love. Maybe it's going for that mission, that goal that you've always had in your mind, something that's calling you. Maybe it is better health. Maybe it is just feeling good and not having pain. And whatever it is your body's been telling you, your mind is calling you and saying, I want you to do this or not do that. And you saying, yes, I'll go there because I trust the wisdom of my body. And I know this is what I need to do. And yes, there are many times when we ignore it and just barrel forward in what we're used to doing. Because that's the way we're used to feeling. That's the way we're used to reacting. Mastery requires that you respond, not react. Respond. When you respond, it means you respond because you have deep thought. You know with conviction from your truth how to show up. That's a response. Reaction is that animal instinct that just turns on automatically when something pushes your buttons. Somebody says something and you react. Oh, I don't like that. You hit them back with something that's right on the tip of your tongue and it's out before you know it. That's a reaction. A response is take a breath. Woo, heard that. Heard that. Heard that. You know, you hear that. I often have that when I hear that reaction in my mind, but it's back here. Back here. I want to spit it out. I want to spit it out. And I say, no, it's not me. That's not who I am right here, right now. I'm going to say something else. That's that other degree. You're at 211, you're going to go to 212. And you can either go to 212 in anger and have that steam burn you and the person you're going to speak to, or that steam becomes love. That steam becomes spiritual power. And that steam becomes integrity and love and honor and dignity. Slow down, take a breath. Reactions are hard and fast. Responses come slow, they rise up within you. And you say, yes, this is how I show up now. This is how I express right here in my divinity. Self-mastery takes time. It takes little, tiny decisions throughout the day. It takes little decisions in a moment, in 5 minutes when you're sitting in front of somebody. And sometimes when you're in a difficult situation, there's a choice every second. Do I stay where I am, or do I react and go off the rails? Because we all know how sometimes it can be good in the beginning, right? You're having a conversation, you're in something, and then all of a sudden you get tired of expressing differently. And then you go back into what you're used to doing. You fall back into what's usual. Self-mastery calls you to that extra degree. And I kind of think of it as the opposite end of the spectrum for what we talked about last week. You know, when things are messy and you're you're just kind of laying in that. And maybe you need to fall back a little bit to take care of yourself. That's all good. We talked about that. Mastery is knowing when you need to take care of yourself and when you need to retreat. And mastery is also when you know it's time to push it forward. To not retreat, but to move forward. To do something extra. To turn it up higher. To use more power. To find more love. To be more peaceful. To be more kind. To not just be quiet, but to speak up and to be proactive. Because sometimes it's about not saying anything at all. Sometimes it's about not doing something at all. But sometimes that 1 degree is being proactive, is doing something now. There were times when I was being in my mastery was about, I don't know what to say that's good, so I'll say nothing. So I did no harm. And that is good. But as you continue to grow and you continue to go down that path and you continue to learn what it is to more fully express mastery, then it may become, now I have something good to say. Now I have something to say that can heal. And you may be in a vulnerable situation because when we step out sometimes in our mastery, it means we open ourselves to judgment. You may be with people who are used to you doing something else. And they'll say, oh, what's wrong with her? Where did she get that from? Who does she think she is now? Yeah? When we start stepping into our mastery, sometimes the people who are used to us don't know what to do with our mastery. You turned it up a degree, you got steam, they don't know what to do. Oh, what is all that? What's with the steam? Why is she showing up like that? What did we talk about after I got back from Orlando and I watched those stormtroopers come through? What they said was, step aside. I'm here to be in my mastery. Step aside. There's nothing I can do with what you think about my behavior right now. Not my circus, not my monkeys. Masters do what they're called to do, no matter what people think. No matter what people think. So whether it's your loved ones, family, friends, colleagues, coworkers, suddenly you're showing up differently and they can't handle the steam, the boiling water, the 212. It doesn't matter, the train is still barreling down the tracks. And the situations and the people who can't handle it will step out of the way. They'll step out of the way. And their path now calls them to do something or not for themselves as you step into your mastery. You will either inspire them to be in their mastery as well, or they will trickle out of your life. And yes, mastery can be a solitary existence at times. talked to another minister a week ago about ministry they often say that it's a lonely calling. And as we talked about that, and we thought about that, and we discussed how we feel at times, we kind of came to a conclusion that that paradigm was starting to feel like martyrdom for us. And so we talked about reframing that to being solitary rather than lonely. There's a difference between being lonely and being alone. You can be alone in your mastery, in your divinity, in your power, and not be lonely. To know you have all you need right here, right now, within you. You don't need affirmation. You don't need validation. You don't need somebody to come make it all right. Because you're whole, perfect, and complete within yourself, as your divine self, in your steam. In the steam, in the 212 degrees. And when you start to feel like that throughout the day, and every moment in everything you do, your life will change. You will feel the shift. And you'll feel sometimes the big shift, where all of a sudden you think, oh my gosh, this is the life I wanted. Or it can be in the moment when you turn on that 1 degree and you realize you just did something different than you've done before, and you have a moment of victory. And I say celebrate it all. Do a happy dance, sing a song, whatever it is, in whatever way that you celebrate your mastery. Because whatever gives you joy, you will continue to run towards. If you make it hard, if you make it painful, if you get into martyrdom about something, oh my gosh, I suffered through that. It's human nature to run from suffering. But if you celebrate it, you will run towards it again and again. You will say, I want that feeling again, this morning, this evening. As I get this one more thing done, as I turn it up 1 more degree, I want that. I want the mastery. And that's when you'll have this quiet determination boiling within you all the time, right here, right here, right here where it lives. And you'll know what to do and how to do it in every moment. You'll know the choices, left or right fork, plan A or plan B. And you'll know what to choose because you're in your mastery. Just doing a little bit more, an extra degree, makes all the difference. Whether you're running a race, whether you're in NASCAR, whether you're in the Masters, Olympic gymnastics, sitting at work, just awakened and wondering whether it's time to meditate or not. Making that extra phone call, writing that extra email to push yourself further towards your goals. Eating something healthier. Deciding to exercise or not. Do I rest? Do I give my body what it's calling for? All of those are choices towards mastery. I'm the master of my universe. Everything I have dominion over. Everything. So the choice in each moment is, do I turn it up an extra degree? Nothing wrong with hot water. But the power comes with the extra degree to 212 when you have steam, when you have power. When you have power. When you are power.